Imagine trying to install a state-of-the-art, high-speed elevator inside a wooden building from 1912, like without changing a single historic floorboard.
Oh, yeah. That sounds like an absolute nightmare for any contractor.
Right. You can't just knock down a wall or, expand the shaft.
Yeah.
And you certainly can't compromise the century-old aesthetic.
No, absolutely not. The heritage rules are way too strict for
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And that is the $6 million puzzle kicking off next week in Montreal. Welcome to the deep dive. We are looking at a fascinating stack of source material you sent our way today.
Yeah, it's a really great set of documents.
It really is. Specifically, you sent us a detailed heritage special report pulled from wikieresidence.k and infodrone.k. And the timing for this could not be better.
It's perfect timing, really.
Yeah, because we're sitting here in late April 2026, and the massive urban restoration project we're about to explore officially breaks ground on May 4th, 2026, literally next week.
It is a remarkable set of documents to dig into. We are looking at a very specific, highly ambitious moment in urban planning, and it's all centered around the old Maisonneuve Market.
Right, in Montreal.
Right, this is a massive multi-million-dollar restoration happening right in the heart of the Mercier Hochelaga-Maisonneuve borough, or MHM for short.
And what makes this so compelling is the underlying mission of the project. We are going to explore how a city actually balances preserving a century-old architectural gem with strict modern safety codes.
Which is incredibly hard to do.
Oh, incredibly. But as you read through the municipal reports you provided, a much larger narrative kind of emerges.
Yeah.
Municipal planners do not view this $6 million price tag as just, a giant maintenance bill to keep the rain out.
No, not at all.
They view this physical restoration as a highly strategic defense mechanism against gentrification.
And that perspective represents a significant pivot in how municipalities generally approach heritage preservation.
Yeah, how so?
Well, often, restoring old buildings is treated purely as looking backward, right? It's like a way to freeze a specific era in time.
Like a museum piece.
Exactly. But the documents you shared frame this architectural project entirely around securing the economic and social future of the neighborhood.
Okay, let's unpack this by starting with the sheer physical reality of the building itself. Because the architectural history we're dealing with here is wild.
It really is.
The old Maisonneuve Market isn't just some generic brick warehouse. It was built between 1912 and 1914 by an architect named Marius Dufresne. And the text specifically notes that this building was designed as a symbol of the monumental ambition of the former city of Maisonneuve.
That phrase, monumental ambition, is crucial for understanding what the borough is actually dealing with today.
Because it wasn't always part of Montreal, right?
Right. Back in 1912, Maisonneuve was its own independent municipality, and its leaders wanted to project immense wealth and permanence. They built these grand, incredibly ornate public structures just to show off, basically.
Wow, so they really wanted to make a statement.
Oh, huge statement. So the borough today isn't just fixing a roof. They are burdened with honoring that original grandiose 1912 ambition while somehow dragging the physical structure into the safety and mobility realities of 2026.
And they're giving themselves a remarkably tight window to pull it off, too. The timeline outlined in your sources is strict. Project launch is May 4, 2026. Final delivery is slated for spring 2027.
That is fast for heritage work.
Super fast. And they are splitting that one-year window into two very distinct operational phases. During the summer and fall of this year, the focus is purely on the intensive exterior and roofing work.
Makes sense with the weather.
Right, because when the harsh Montreal winter hits, the crews move inside to tackle the interior mechanical and safety standard work.
The contrast between the types of physical work happening in those two phases is striking. On the exterior, you have this delicate, almost surgical heritage preservation going on.
Yeah, the sources talk about restoring the original canopy roofing.
Yes, and carefully sealing the original wooden windows. This requires bringing in artisanal masonry experts. I mean, they aren't just slapping modern cement between the bricks out there.
Or they still do that.
Right. They have to use historically accurate lime-based mortars so the building can continue to breathe the way Dufresne originally designed it to.
To prevent moisture buildup, right?
Exactly. Moisture would eventually just destroy that old masonry.
It is painstaking, slow work. But then, on the exact same site, you have these massive, heavy-duty, modern upgrades happening on the inside.
Oh, the interior work is extensive.
Yeah. They are completely replacing the water main. They are fireproofing non-compliant structures. They're adding a brand new exit staircase connecting the ground floor to the second floor.
Upgrading the lateral exits, too.
Yeah, to meet modern code. And completely modernizing that elevator we mentioned at the start.
The fireproofing alone is a fascinating mechanical challenge. Just think about the reality of a 1912 wooden structure.
I mean, wood burns,
Hmm.
obviously.
Right. And modern commercial codes require very specific fire resistance ratings. But you can't just cover Dufresne's beautiful century-old wooden ceilings with modern drywall.
Or drop ceilings to hide sprinkler pipes. That would ruin it.
Exactly. So they have to employ these really specialized methods. They're applying intumescent coatings that actually expand under heat to protect the wood.
Oh, wow. That's clever.
Yeah, and they're intricately hiding modern fire suppression systems within the existing architectural cavities. It is a massive structural intervention disguised as a cosmetic restoration.
You know, it reminds me of trying to update the operating system of a vintage computer, but with a severe physical catch.
How do you mean?
Well, you look at that classic casing, and you desperately want to keep the beautiful, authentic 1912 aesthetic, you know, the artisanal masonry, the original wood windows.
Sure.
But to make sure the machine doesn't just crash and become totally useless in 2026, you have to go in and completely rip out the motherboard.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, you have to replace the water mains, install the fireproofing, upgrade the elevators. But the friction is that a vintage computer casing doesn't have the modern physical ports for a 2026 motherboard.
Just like the old Maisonneuve Market doesn't have the wall clearance for a massive modern HVAC shack.
Exactly. Or the floor depth for a 2026 elevator pit.
And that physical friction dictates everything about how this project is governed. What's fascinating here is the sheer variety of human expertise required to solve these exact spatial problems.
It must be a logistical nightmare.
Well, the text highlights how this project mobilizes incredibly diverse, highly specialized skill sets. You literally have artisanal heritage wood craftsmen working side by side with specialized elevator mechanics.
Talk about an odd couple.
Right. You have structural engineers whose entire careers are focused solely on heritage-listed buildings.
Just picturing the daily meetings on that job site is amazing. You've got someone who spent 20 years learning how to recreate a century-old wood grain, trying to negotiate wall space with someone tasked with installing a state-of-the-art digital elevator system.
And all of those conflicting priorities are being managed by the MHM Borough Technical Services. They have a strict mandate from the City of Montreal to ensure that every single modern wire, pipe, and steel beam somehow respects Marius Dufresne's original 1912 blueprints.
That sounds impossible.
They are essentially threading modern veins and arteries through a century-old skeleton without breaking any bones.
Which brings up the financial reality of threading those needles. Because the project has an allocated budget of $6 million.
A very specific number.
Right. And according to your sources, this funding is drawn mostly from borough budget envelopes dedicated specifically to heritage protection, as well as the city's 10-year capital works program.
Which is a major source of municipal funding.
But digging into the economics, how does a municipality justify dropping $6 million on a single old market when city budgets are stretched so thin everywhere else?
The planners justify it by looking at the life cycle of urban infrastructure. According to the documents, the primary financial goal is actually long-term preventative savings.
So spending money to save money.
Exactly. When a building this heavily utilized starts to fail mechanically, say the water mains crack or the roof canopy degrades, and less water into the foundations, the cost of catastrophic failure dwarfs the cost of maintenance.
That makes sense.
By maximizing the building's lifespan now, the city avoids massive reconstruction costs a decade down the line. But beyond prevention, they are actively increasing the baseline value of a major municipal asset.
And the report goes into incredible detail about the economic ripple effect this creates for the entire surrounding area. The $6 million isn't just an isolated expense, it's really a neighborhood stimulus.
Oh, completely. The data in your sources points to a very well-documented leverage effect in urban planning. Historically, every dollar a city invests in heritage restoration generates a tangible local economic return.
It brings people in.
Right. It dramatically boosts commercial appeal. The report estimates that properties adjacent to restored heritage sites see a value increase of between 5% and 8%.
Let's translate that into reality. If you own like an independent hardware store or a small family cafe across the street on Ontario Street,
Yeah.
the moment the city finishes this market restoration, the actual value of your commercial property could shoot up by up to 8%.
It's a huge boost.
The source literally refers to this investment as a city branding strategy, actively encouraging the retention of those local shops by drawing foot traffic.
They are consciously using this historic building as a massive anchor. By polishing that anchor, they project a specific, vibrant image of the neighborhood.
Which draws even more people.
Exactly, which in turn supports the local commerce that relies on a steady stream of pedestrians wanting to spend time in a beautiful, well-maintained area.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because looking closely at the urban planning logic in your sources, I found a massive contradiction.
Oh, really? Let's hear the contradiction.
Okay, so the report explicitly claims that preserving the old Maisonneuve Market is vital because it ensures the neighborhood keeps its soul in the face of rapid gentrification.
Yes, that's a big theme in the text.
They frame this project as a shield, protecting the working class roots of MHM. But literally 2 paragraphs earlier, they are bragging about how this exact same restoration is going to boost adjacent property values by 5 to 8%.
I see where you're going with this.
Right. Doesn't intentionally boosting property values and using city branding strategies actually accelerate the exact gentrification they are supposedly fighting? I mean, you can't fight gentrification by making the real estate more expensive, can you?
This raises an important question, and you've hit on one of the most complex, seemingly paradoxical dynamics in modern urban planning.
It just seems counterintuitive.
To understand the planner's logic, we have to look closely at a specific phrase used in the text. The sources state that in today's real estate market, authenticity has become a safe haven value.
A safe haven value. We usually hear that term in finance, right?
Yeah.
Like buying gold when the stock market crashes.
The principle is remarkably similar here. When a neighborhood starts gentrifying rapidly, developers come in looking for cheap land.
Yeah, looking for a flip.
Right. The typical pattern is they buy up older, perhaps run-down properties, tear them to the ground, and build generic, high-priced glass and steel condos.
And then the whole vibe of the area is just gone.
Over a decade, the physical and cultural identity of the neighborhood gets completely erased. The planners in MHM know that the economic tide is rising. The gentrification is already rapid, as the text notes.
They can't just ban people from moving there?
No, they cannot stop capital from flowing into the borough.
Ah, I see. So if you can't build a dam to stop the money, you kind of have to build a channel to direct it.
That is the strategy exactly. By taking the most prominent historic building in the area, the Market Hub, and investing $6 million to ensure it remains a public, accessible, community-focused space, the city is dictating the terms of that economic growth.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
The 5 to 8% property value increase happens, yes, but it happens around a public anchor that supports the existing local shops on Ontario Street.
Instead of a new luxury condo building.
Right. By ensuring the center of gravity remains public and historically rooted, it prevents a total developer takeover. Authenticity becomes the neighborhood's defense mechanism against becoming a generic condo farm.
That totally reframes the entire budget for me. It is about who controls the anchor of the neighborhood.
Exactly.
If the city lets the market fall into disrepair, the center of gravity weakens and developers dictate the future.
They'll just buy it up.
Right. But if the city restores it, the community dictates the future. Which brings us down from the high-level economic theory to the actual physical street level.
The people who actually use it.
Yes, because the sources make it very clear that this building is not being treated like a dusty museum piece to be looked at from afar.
The statistics detailing the usage of this space are staggering. The report notes that the Market Hub, which encompasses the adjacent new public market and the community center operating within the old structure, it attracts over 450,000 visitors every single year.
Wait, almost 500,000. Let's put that number in perspective. 450,000 annual visitors in a neighborhood of about 139,000 residents means this isn't just a local spot where people grab milk on a Tuesday.
No, it's huge.
This is a massive regional hub. People are traveling to be in this space. No wonder the 1912 plumbing is failing under that kind of human pressure.
The sheer wear and tear generated by 500,000 footsteps a year puts enormous constant strain on the infrastructure. This explains why the interior work is so heavily focused on spatial optimization rather than just aesthetic touch-ups.
It's functional, not just pretty.
Right. They aren't just fixing pipes. The text says they are actively reconfiguring parts of the basement and the ground floor.
Right. They're optimizing the square footage used by the various community organizations headquartered there. The building is intensely utilized for social services, local meetings, and community events.
And that intense utilization creates the ultimate logistical nightmare for the construction crews, which explains the strict phasing timeline we discussed earlier.
The summer versus winter thing.
Doing the exterior in the summer and the interior in the winter wasn't just a weather preference. It was planned specifically to minimize the impact on those resident organizations.
So they don't have to shut down entirely.
Exactly. The city is going out of its way, absorbing the complexities of a phased construction schedule to ensure that access to essential community services is maintained during the entire year of work.
I mean, trying to completely replace a main water line, upgrade electrical grids, and install a modern elevator while keeping a community center open to the public sounds incredibly difficult.
It's a huge undertaking.
But they're enduring that logistical headache because the social impact is the core purpose of the project. There's a quote in the source material from the project's urban planners that captures this ethos perfectly.
Which quote is that?
They state, "Taking care of our heritage means respecting our past while offering a prestigious and sustainable living environment for future generations."
That's a great quote. And focus on their use of the word prestigious there. Usually in real estate, prestigious is a buzzword reserved exclusively for private luxury.
Like gated communities or high-end penthouses.
Exactly. But here, the planners are reclaiming that word and applying it to a completely public, working-class community space.
So what does this all mean for the residents? The text explicitly notes that the people of MHM are deeply proud of their working-class roots and their distinctive architecture.
They are very protective of it.
And yet so much of this project is about hyper-modernization, adding the new ground to second-floor staircase, completely upgrading the lateral exits, modernizing the elevator. How do those specific modern upgrades actually serve a historic working-class legacy?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it completely redefines what heritage preservation actually means. True heritage preservation is not about freezing a building in time like a bug in amber.
Because life moves on.
Right. If you freeze a 1912 building, you also freeze 1912 accessibility and safety standards, which were virtually non-existent back then.
Take the lateral exits, for example. In 1912, doors were narrow, there was no panic hardware for mass egress, and the fire ratings were terrible.
Non-existent, really.
If a fire broke out today with thousands of people in the market, the old layout would be a tragedy waiting to happen.
And beyond safety, there is the issue of basic human access. The report heavily emphasizes that this project includes optimized access for people with reduced mobility.
Which is so important for public space.
Absolutely. Think about what a community center is supposed to be. If a local resident who uses a wheelchair cannot access the second floor because the 1912 elevator is broken or just too small, then that building is not a community heart.
It is an exclusive club.
Exactly. A beautiful building that half the community can't safely navigate isn't preserving anything of value.
Right, it's just an aesthetic.
By bringing the building up to modern mobility and safety codes with the new elevator, the upgraded lateral exits, the widened staircases, the city is ensuring that the sense of belonging in this distinctive architecture is genuinely inclusive.
Everyone gets to enjoy it.
It guarantees that the local pride in those working-class roots is available to everyone in the neighborhood, regardless of their physical ability. They are ensuring the site functions as a truly inclusive cultural and leisure space for the 21st century.
It's basically taking the working-class solidarity of the neighborhood's past and translating it directly into the universal accessibility of the present.
For the residents of MHM, this project is a long-term guarantee. It ensures that the old market will remain the beating heart of their sector, not just for the duration of a mayoral term, but for decades to come.
It really completely reframes how we should look at municipal construction projects. As we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear from the sources you shared that this $6 million injection into the old Maisonneuve Market is so much more than a heritage facelift or a giant maintenance bill.
It's so much deeper than that.
It is a highly calculated urban strategy. It's about preserving a community's working-class soul, actively supporting local businesses on nearby streets, and taking a 1912 architectural masterpiece and fundamentally upgrading its operating system so it can survive another century of daily, intense use.
It is a remarkable case study in how cities can thoughtfully evolve without losing themselves. And as we finish up today, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, drawing on that concept of authenticity we discussed earlier.
I love this idea.
The sources note that in today's real estate market, authenticity is a safe haven value. As cities everywhere continue to build shiny, identical glass towers that could just as easily be in Montreal, Tokyo, or London, will authenticity become the ultimate modern luxury?
Oh, that's deep.
Look around your own neighborhood. What old building holds the identity of your community together, and what would be irrevocably lost if it were replaced by something generic?
A fantastic question to end on, and something we should all be keeping an eye out for in our own backyards. Thank you so much for joining us, and a special thank you for bringing these fascinating sources to our attention. Keep looking closely at the world around you, and keep learning.